Welcome to The Longer Game. If you're listening to a show about retail being reimagined. If you'd like to connect with The Longer Game, look for The Longer Game at thelongergame.com and on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at The Longer Game. We're here to talk about retail, why it's changing, how it's changing, and what you can expect in the future. We're not trying to take ourselves too seriously, but we do want to know what that retail landscape is going to look like. I hope you enjoy your time listening to this podcast. We try to keep it as quick as possible because we don't want to waste your time, but we want to keep you informed. Thanks for tuning in. Now, here's the show. Welcome, everybody, to The Longer Game. This is the podcast where we talk about what? We talk about what? But we talk about Retail Reimagined. We're just keeping it real. We're talking with people in the retail space that have interesting and unique experiences, and they're able to shed some light on where they think this retail train is going. With me today, I wish I had a drum roll button, but I don't have a drum roll button. So with me today is Jon of Zon Guru, and he is the CEO and co-founder. I was telling him that seems like a popular title. And Jon, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Good to be here.
I love that. It is good to be here. I feel good to be seen and to be seeing you. Tell people more about Zon Guru and what you do.
Yeah, look, Zon Guru has been around for a long time. It's kind of the longer game, but no, I mean, Zon
There we
Guru
go.
we co-founded, launched Zon Guru back in 2016. Essentially, it's a business intelligence software tool set for private label Amazon sellers. So people creating brands, selling them on Amazon specifically. We focus on Amazon as a platform. I think we'll get into my background a little bit, but I think when I launched the software, I was an Amazon seller myself. I still am an Amazon seller, selling products on Amazon. I have multiple brands. That concept of I need to make the right business decisions for my business to scale it. I was in advertising for many years, and that kind of flashing sign of GIGO was in my head, which is garbage in, garbage out, right? And you want the opposite, right? You want to have the right intelligence at the right time in a relevant way, visualize so you can make quick business decisions and move your business forward. So you're not making mistakes along the way because you have the wrong intelligence, right? So that was the reason behind creating Zon Guru.
Did you feel like you were getting garbage from as a seller? Did you feel like
at the time, yes. I think software wasn't very very well developed. There wasn't a lot of visualization of the right data from the verified source of Amazon through the APIs. Plus, there's a lot of estimations and things that go into that. But having AI around that to really make sure that the guideline was there. All of that wasn't filled in, right? And even today, it's not filled in completely. So, understanding, I'm making decisions now for something that I'm going to be launching in 6 months' time, and knowing what to do, how to do it, when to go in, and making sure I have the right information now, so that risk is de-risked. Is important.
You're talking about having the right information, and oftentimes having the right information means that you have to be open to the fact that what you want or what you think is right could actually be wrong. And I ultimately believe that many or maybe all problems between humans results from pride. And as a founder, as an owner, being right is not what's important. It is about getting it right and doing it correctly. So whether that's you, your co-founder, someone on your team that comes up with the process or the way to do something, it's about getting it right. I was talking to you about a guest we had on the podcast earlier from Chipmunk Baking, talking about how they're just being really nimble. And you said getting rid of ego. As a founder and as someone that wants a company to work, especially a CPG company, because I know you have experience in advertising some of those companies, what does getting rid of ego mean, and how is it applicable?
I have no idea because I've got such a big ego. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Well, good. Tell people what the process is like to get there. Not many people share during the process, so that's
No,
as
no,
needed.
I'm just kidding. But look, I think it's a really, we all have ego, and a lot of it is related to what you said, which is pride, right? Um, we're entrepreneurs, especially if we're in the product creation side, whether it's software or whether it's a physical product. There's a brand that comes with that, and we're creating a brand, and we're prideful of that brand. And we want to be the best in the world, right? And we've got competitors who are doing great in different spaces, and you think you can beat them and you can do better than them. And we were just talking a little bit earlier about like, hey, if I'm a FMCG cookie, I want to be in Whole Foods in Los Angeles. I want to be crushing everyone else there,
That
right? But
feels good. That
yeah, that
feels good
feels good.
for
It's
you.
like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to go for that, but you can beat your head against that pole for a long time and not get anywhere. Whereas maybe the right option is to go and sell it in a mom and pop store throughout the middle of America in Iowa
Yep.
and wherever else, right? And that could be certainly the be all and end all could be that, or it could be the pathway to get you to wherever you need to be down the road. And we run into this all the time with entrepreneurs and even sellers on Amazon, and they're trying to make decisions. How do I move forward? And what I say to them is like, you can't be necessarily relying on all of that creativity and that flair and that ego and everything that you have there if you don't have the baseline of data and numbers, right? And that's the discipline of being an entrepreneur is no matter how good you think you are, if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know how to use Excel, if you don't know how to take a pen and paper and literally jot down your specific numbers based on metrics, based on financial metrics mostly, if you can't put that down in the right way and really look at that, you're not going to be making the right decisions when it comes to your ego or your creativity. So what I say to entrepreneurs always is rely on the numbers. Do you know your numbers? Have you sat down? Have you figured out? Because when someone comes to me and they say, hey, I want to do this, or should I do this marketplace, or should I do this product? I'm like, well, what are your numbers? Let me see your numbers. Show me that detail. And typically they haven't done that work. And as soon as
It
they do that
feels
work,
like revealing yourself. I mean, like almost being naked and like, oh well, I don't want to show that part of me. And it's like, well, why would you worry about that if you've got things in place? I don't want to get too deep into that innuendo, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, oh, I'm bearing all here because someone asked for my numbers, but that's what it comes down to when we talk about brass tacks.
yeah, and it's not even necessarily bearing all and showing your numbers. It's like, have you done the numbers yourself? And the answer is typically no, I haven't, and that's why they don't know
Gotcha.
what decision to make, right? So I think the choice that you make, and it goes back to why Zongu is around, is the choice that you make. You need to have the right data in the right way, so you're confident in that decision, and it makes the decision extremely clear, right? Should I
Great.
drop this? Should I stop selling this product? I really love the brand that I created. It's amazing, but
Yep.
I'm not sure of the numbers. Should I drop it? I'm like, well, where are the numbers? Let's have a look. Yes, it's
Yep.
very clear. Drop it tomorrow. Move on. So the case in point of saying, hey, the guy selling the cookies in Iowa, he's done his numbers. He knows he's thought about it. He's looked at it. He's like, this isn't really working in LA or wherever it is. What's the business decision or the question I need to ask so that I can move this business forward? Hey, what about these other markets? Okay, great. Let's look at the numbers. Wow, look at this huge opportunity. This is where we're
Yeah.
going. So it's critical, and we do it every day. In that's what I love about SaaS and technology that I'm in, is that it covers every aspect of business. If you can run a SaaS business, it's everything from marketing to retention, to onboarding, to customer success, to scaling. But everything is driven by numbers. And if you can take your overall vision and then work that back into numbers that you need to focus on right now today, that if you get those right, it's going to scale your business. Then you're moving forward in a disciplined entrepreneurial way. And it sucks having to always know the numbers, but you have to, and then
Yeah.
if you've got all the numbers, you can have all the ego you want, because it's gonna work. But
Because they're going to back you up because the
yeah,
numbers don't
exactly.
lie.
Yeah,
Numbers
there you
don't
go.
care about your feelings, or facts, whatever, don't care about your feelings. Now, what's even more interesting, especially when you start to get into data and numbers in like case studies or scientific case studies, you think data is data. And then people start to flip that data and turn that data into something that favors what they're going for. And a good example of this is me personally. If I'm measuring out food because I'm wanting to be precise, and I know, okay, I'm getting 2 cups of cantaloupe. When I measure it out, I know I'm getting exactly 2 cups of cantaloupe. And if I say, oh, well, it's only like 1.5, even though it was really 2, then I'm lying to myself. And so I'm going to pay the Pied Piper, or whatever the guy's name is, when the time comes. And if I'm estimating though, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, it's probably 2 cups, but I give myself maybe 3, I'm again lying to myself. So go back to the numbers and the data. I'm going to the precise measurement to know I've attended, like you said, do you like this brand? Yes, you like this brand, but should you stop selling it? Yes, the numbers are very clear. So go back to the data to affirm whether you're correct or not. If I'm giving myself 3 cups of something, I'm really bringing you into my personal life here, people. But
Oh,
if I know that I have a tendency to want to fudge the numbers on that a little bit, then I need to go back to the data. If I really care about the end result. If you don't care about the end result in your business and being successful, or ultimately what I would say profitable, is truly success. I mean, there's a lot of cliches about revenue and profitability, and revenue is very sexy. I mean, saying, 7, 8, 9 figure, like, that's very sexy, but how profitable are you? What are you taking home with you? Is it feeding the lifestyle that you want to live? Is it helping you to have the freedom that you want to live? I think all those things matter. But yeah, getting back to, if you want the end result to be clear and to be profitable or successful, you have to look at the numbers.
yeah, and I mean, I think just to add to that, I think it's that old saying, which is what's worse than a wrong decision is indecision, right? So I think
Oh, okay, yeah.
that's the other critical piece of being an entrepreneur is and I don't know why I say entrepreneur weird. It's part of the accent, but
I like it,
um,
man. It's cool. Go with it.
um you know, is you know, do the best you can, and there's a lot that goes into do the best you can in terms of your numbers and quantifying it. But at the end of the day, you have to make a decision, right? And indecision is far worse. I think I was at my our VC partners the other day, and it's like a plaque on the wall, which is like, don't be the indecisive squirrel. It's the squirrel who is the hesitating squirrel. And it's like this picture of a squashed squirrel, like on a road.
Yeah.
The guy who hesitated and got squashed. And so, at the end of the day, that my co-founder, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, Adam Hudson, and why do we work well together? I mean, he's just the mother of all entrepreneurs, because he can understand trends, but when he gets a picture in his head, he just executes like a demon. And
Yeah.
that's one of his superpowers, where
That's what I would
he's
expect a demon to do too, is to execute.
yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, maybe
And so
physically, but
yeah,
that's where the devil is, in the details of execution. Being
there you go.
successful on Amazon, we both work with Amazon sellers. Being successful on Amazon, it's really simple from a high level strategy point. Get your real estate looking good and send traffic to it. Your product listing, advertising, boom. That's pretty much the strategy. But when you get down to actually executing, are you making the decisions that you need to along the way? I think a lot of what you do in business is experimentation. So you're experimenting, you're taking a risk and saying, this may not work out. If it doesn't work out, I'm still going to be okay, and we're going to keep going because we're going to learn from that mistake. Or, I mean, you could make a big mistake and shut your company down, but you have to be willing to step out there and take the risk and take the shot. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything. You're going to be squashed in the road like a
Yeah,
little
and and
squirrel.
and, and to add more thought to that, it's executing fast. But to plug your concept, it's executing fast with a longer game vision in mind, right? And I think the
Right.
people who fail on Amazon, time and time it happens again. It's the people who are like, oh, I'm executing fast, but it's like, I'm just making a decision for the easy way out. Oh, well, this is a trendy product. Okay, well, let's just get into this because it's the trendy thing right now. Or hey,
Yeah.
let me just do with this product, and let's not do too much differentiation because I just want to get it live, and let me just test it with this product. Instead of making the hard decisions. Hey, yes, I need to get in and do some research right now. Okay, execute on that. Let's research, connect with customers, spend some money, understand what they want. Great, I've got that. Okay, now I need to execute on like differentiating the product. How should I do that? How do I connect with the right manufacturer? Let's execute like a mother to get that right. And those are the people who make the right decisions about what they need to execute fast on are the ones that are successful. The ones that fail are the ones that try and execute quickly, but they're doing it all the easy ways out, and they just fail. So you've got to have that longer term vision in mind and then execute quickly to get there.
Let's talk about a practical example of what an easy way out would look like, because I think I love waxing poetic or talking philosophical, but what's an example maybe that you've experienced of someone wanting to take an easy way out, and what did that look like?
I think a typical one, if we're talking about people who are just starting to launch on Amazon, I think
Sure.
the usual vision that we direct people on is to say, okay, you know, use the data, come up with what you think is a great niche, but then truly spend some time thinking about how you could differentiate that product, with the caveats of it being commercially viable, right? Because you don't want to over capitalize on that
Sure.
differentiation. So that's a really tricky thing to get right, and typically they kind of hammer their head against the wall and they kind of go through this whole process, and they eventually get a little frustrated, and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go with this one product. I just want to get live on Amazon, and I'm just going to start selling this, and that's an
Impatience.
easy way out. And yes, there's benefits to kind of getting that momentum and getting on Amazon and learning that way. But that's also that's time that you could have been spent building the thing that you should be building, right? So that's a kind of a way of easy way out. Or someone says, hey, this is the trendy thing, jump on this, and they haven't really thought about the long-term vision of that product, and they jump in there and their margins get eaten and they die. The other one, which is a really important one, is this idea of you're starting. Where's the best place to start your e-commerce business? Amazon. Great. If you're going into it just thinking, hey, I'm just creating a product and selling on Amazon, you're just creating a product. It's going to die. Your margins are going to get eaten away.
Dream bigger, people.
You have to dream bigger, and you have to have a plan and a vision beyond Amazon. And it's the people who have those that is not easy. It's like, okay, I have to think about my Shopify, my brand. How do I get traffic to that? How do I start collecting, my customers' information so I can create a connection with them? How do I start to build these? How do I layer on this on top of this business of Amazon? Those are the people who are not going the easy way out and are creating a brand that's going to be hard in the beginning, and it's going to probably eat into your profits in the beginning, but it's going to set you up for the future. So, those are very easy examples, I think, of what people get wrong.
That was super practical, and I really appreciate that, because I think people will walk away from this saying, hey, here's a scenario that I may have even gone through. How can I apply this to what I'm going through now? Two things. One is, how many people are asking you if selling poppets is a good thing to get into right now?
This poppet,
Fidget toys.
yeah.
Yep.
It was a fidget spinner, now it's poppets, right?
Yep. Poppets,
Yeah.
dimples. My 8-year-old is obsessed.
My 17-month-old has just got one. I just actually bought some the other day, not even knowing what it was.
Okay.
So there you go. Hopefully, if someone's going to be asking their questions, they get screened, and they don't even get to me, because I'll go at them for a while. But
Yep.
no, look, I think this is the important piece, right? Which is, we're data. We're giving you all of these data points to say, hey, what are the right kind of niches? How should you approach going into Amazon? That's 50% of the equation. The other 50% is your business savviness, your business smarts, and it's honestly a very, very closely related to your values. Are you looking for the quick way out? Are you looking to hack it on Amazon, black hat tactics? Are you the hustler? And there's space in the world for the hustlers. That's cool. But I think the right approach to Amazon is, how do I use this amazing opportunity, and literally it is amazing, to be able to launch a product that is world class, that can compete against the biggest brands in the world, that I can grow, and over a 2 to 3 year process, I can start with something that maybe cost me $50,000 up front, and I can build it into a 7-8 figure business and exit, and literally have that. And that opportunity is there. It's about asking the right questions, having the right mentality, educating yourself on how to grow a proper brand, you know, uh, thinking why not, thinking about brands beyond Amazon that you can compete against, using that, building a moat around your business, layering on SOPs, using the discipline of data, and having that discipline to move your business forward, and then working towards the vision of an exit, which, right now, shit, if you can get 50% of
Very,
it right,
yep.
there's I think it's $3 billion in debt financing across 20 different aggregators that just want to buy your business right now. So
It's
it
hot,
is
man. It
there.
is hot shit right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like that you said, and I think is applicable for any brand right now, if it's a big CPG company, the Kimberly Clarks, the Johnson and Johnsons, et cetera, of the world, or if it's a smaller brand like Chipmunk Baking, they and by smaller, we're talking about smaller revenue in no, way, shape, or form doesn't mean smaller from a product or an impact standpoint, but Amazon is a necessary channel to be on. I think, John, you and I would probably both agree with that, but it is only one channel. And while I'm focused on servicing Amazon, while your SaaS product is focused on Amazon, you recognize that it has to be multiple channels because the retail space is so fractured right now. It's so split up. You have to be in the spots where your brand is going to sell. So if it's being a cookie company that's first to market in the keto market out in Iowa, and you're getting in the natural stores in a community of 5,000-10,000, you've now got repeat buyers that love your product, and they're going to be more loyal to your product potentially than other products going in. And it's not as sexy as the Whole Foods, but maybe that leads to getting into Whole Foods because now you've got brand weight. People are like, hey, where's this product? Where's this product? Where's this product? So you can get into some of those, more sexy places, but you have to play the longer game. I did such a great job setting that up. I just want to pat myself on the back. Uh, but in all seriousness, you have to have a bigger vision, but you have to be in multiple channels too, because Amazon is volatile. Amazon can shut your business down at any point, and it's incumbent upon you to prove that they should open it back up. And I had Chris McCabe on the show. His episode was really enlightening to me. I've dealt with suspensions, I've dealt with product suppressions, things like that. But the people that are at Amazon that are handling these seller performance, account health questions and issues, they're seen as protecting Amazon. So if they flag something, they kind of get a pat on the back for that. And then it's on you to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're not going to screw them over when they turn your account back on. So you have to make sure your eggs are not all in one basket, because they could get crushed very easily. And then, I know people whose accounts were shut down and they had, 40, 50 grand sitting in there. And it's like, where's my next paycheck coming from? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think it's a de-risking, project, right? And it's a scaling and a de-risking project. But I think the important thing there is to understand that you have to have a vision for all of these channels, right? But and have that vision in your head, but you need to start doing the fundamentals right in order to get there. So it's not to focus on, hey, to have this massive business, I need to be in all these channels. So let's start there. It's like, what do I need to get right now, and how do I layer these in the right order and in the right velocity to be able to get to that? And that is, probably a 2-year process, right?
Sure.
And
Do you have the patience to wait out that 2-year process? Amazon's a great first step, and it can give you quick proof of concept, and you can turn over capital a lot quicker. But then, yeah, what's beyond that?
Yeah, and I think people should absolutely have the patience for 2 years. 2 years or 5 years, to get there. But the guy with the cookie who thought he was going to create this huge 8-figure business by going to all these channels around the US and different e-commerce and all that kind of stuff. If he's just trying to do that, and he's just trying to figure out his marketing plan to get all of that in, and he's not really thinking about the product as much, he's probably going to be the one that fails versus or isn't sold, versus the guy who's like, damn, I've got a passion for this cookie. I'm really got a passion for this cookie, and I've figured out this is the
Yeah.
most amazing cookie. And like everyone in these little mom and pop IOI stores want reorders, and I haven't figured out how to, distribute that yet. But I'm just really going after this, and I'm getting this right. And then I'm going to layer on, hey, we're going to extend to this state, and then I'm going to layer on this and that, and they figure out those steps as they go. Um, those are the ones who are going to probably be extremely successful down the road. And everyone is looking to find those amazing products. Like at the end of the day, there's so many distribution networks and things out there and help you can get. But if you don't get the fundamental rights of the product, you're not going to be successful. So I guess my preaching there is, don't rush that initial step of like you have this golden opportunity, and it's that one little opportunity in this whole 2 to 5 year process that you're doing to get your product absolutely right by envisioning what it is, having a passion for it, speaking to customers, getting the research done, figuring out how you can truly make an amazing product, and then launching that product, and then not forgetting to continue to reiterate and improve and innovate on that product. And that's how you're going to really grow your brand and your product is upfront research and reiteration, innovation, improvement as you go.
We're talking about building a solid foundation versus building your house on solid ground versus building it in the sand. If you get too anxious and you need to just get on Amazon, and trust me, I understand. Well, I mean, you don't have to trust me. You don't have to take my word for it. That's fine. But I get the desire to get out there and just make something happen and figure things out. If you start down a road and you're not really passionate about it, how much adversity can you handle? What is your AQ, or adversity quotient? A lot of people know about IQ, a lot of people know
Mhm.
about EQ now, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient, but adversity quotient, how much shit can you handle that's thrown at you? And if you're going down a road that you didn't do your research on and you're not really truly passionate about, you might get, a year and a half into the journey, but you might fail and stop. I think the ultimate failure is stopping. And sometimes there are things that I failed at and I said, okay, I am going to stop this because I need to put my focus on something else. And I had that happen in my business. It was very, very, product driven. And then it started to fail. And I said, okay, I have to say no to this to say yes to something else. And saying no, I think, can be just as powerful as saying yes. But you have to, if you just stop and say, okay, well, that's it, boom, closing the doors. But if you had just spent a little more time in the beginning, it wasn't a market thing. It was, hey, if you'd spent time in the beginning really focusing on what you were passionate about and what you would have had, you know, the endurance you would have to take the machete into the forest and knock down the trees once it started getting really thick, how much can you take? And if your adversity quotient is low because you didn't really put in the time and the numbers, I think you're setting yourself up to fail as opposed to laying the groundwork so that you can get out and execute and build upon that solid base.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just reminds me of Seth Godin's book, The Dip, right? Which I think anybody who's starting this journey should read. And it's that
I was
concept
actually
of,
mentioning purple cow to someone else recently,
yeah. And
about standing out and being the purple cow.
yeah, and his book, The Dip, is kind of explaining what you were just talking about, which is, um, you have to, if you're going to go in, there's going to be this struggle where you're going to dip for a while and you're going to have to fight and you're going to have to fight. But if you aren't going into that with the tenacity to be the best, it's not even worth necessarily getting into it. Or if you're in and you're not feeling that you're going to do the best, get out early, because there's a road of the dip ahead. But if you can fight through that and always have that ability to try and be in that top 1%, you're going to come out of the dip on the other side, leaving your competition in the wake, and that's where you scale, right? So understand that you're
Yeah.
going into this with a dip ahead of you. But if you go in with your best foot forward and really fight for perfection, you're going to come out on top. But you've got to have that tenacity, right? So
I've heard
yeah.
it called the trough of sorrow for an entrepreneur. It's where you get that initial excitement and it's like, yeah, I got this cool concept, and
Yeah.
then hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work.
Mm.
And so I mean, I know from my experience that if you're not ready to handle that, I think that's such smart advice. Get out early. And there's no shame in saying,
Nope.
hey, this isn't for me. It's just saying, hey, I know that this is not the right fit. And so I'm gonna pivot and I'm gonna move into something else. But make sure you've got stamina behind that trough of sorrow, that dip that you talked about.
Yeah, the worst is obviously if you're in that dip and you're just like, hey, well, this is tough and everything, and I'm not really executing, and I'm just kind of just going through, and I'm just spreading this dip out all the time, and then I exit a year or two later without making the right kind of decisions, and I've wasted those 2 years, right? So you've got to understand that when you're in that, you're like, okay, this is the fight for it, and it's going to be hard, and I've got to execute, and I've just got to keep going, and I've got to work my way out of this. And if I just feel like I'm going to be sitting in mediocrity, then get out now. There's no point, because it's going to be 2 years, and then you're going to exit and waste 2 years of your life. So yeah, really important thing. It's an exciting time for sure being in e-commerce. I think anybody who is in a space or is thinking about getting into it, get in, own your product. That's the true thing that you can truly own is your product. And then there are many, many channels out there that you can explore. Amazon USA, Amazon marketplaces globally. There's this whole idea of the Walmart coming into play. Retail again. There's all of these channels that are there for you to explore. But if you can, get your product right, and then layer on, not go too quick, but layer on and get all of those right, you will scale massively very quickly, and then get one of these fat aggregators to buy you. Yeah.
Jon Tilley, people, here's my takeaway. Don't settle for mediocrity in any case of the word. Jon, where will people find you if they want to find you? Is it hanging out with your 18-month-old? Is it playing guitar? Is it a beer in Vegas? Where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you?
Ego@Jon Dot Com. No, I'm just
kidding. if you had that would be so baller. Oh man. Okay. Ego@Jon.com.
Yeah, not that. You can get us at @ZonGuru. Instagram is great if you're looking for inspiring ideas for products. That channel is dedicated to that. ZonGuru.com. Our support team are all sellers, multi-brand sellers. They'll be passionate to help you jump on there. You can hit me up at Jon@ZonGuru.com, no H, and wherever. You can find us on any handle. Again, even our blog has just got a lot of information about the current state of Amazon, how to build a business, how to scale a business, all of those things. So we're definitely passionate about the space. We want to help you. So it's a good place to start, and then definitely we're helping you to think about growing beyond Amazon as well, because that's critical.
If you want to be successful, people, you got to play the longer game, and Jon is somebody that is playing the longer game. So reach out to him if you're interested in starting a business, and get connected with ZonGuru and do the research that you need to do. The longer game is all about Retail Reimagined, talking about the future. Omni-channel is the future, people. If you are thinking of only staying in one channel, you need to rethink that. If you're in multiple channels, maybe you're overextending yourself. Focus on the channels where you're going to get the most return and where you really feel like you are going to succeed as a brand. And I always talk about Amazon a lot, because 54% of people are going there just to do product research. So you got to be where your consumers are. That's it. Quick end, the longer game. We did it. Nice work, Jon.
All right. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you for listening to The Longer Game. We genuinely appreciate your time. And if you want to connect with us, please reach out to thelongergame.com. You can fill out a contact request form there. You can also find us on majority of the social media platforms, except for Twitter. That's the only one that we're not really on. This show is brought to you by my agency, Cartology. We're helping brands accelerate growth and become profitable on Amazon. If you'd like to know more, go to thinkcartology.com, fill out a contact form, and we'll get on the phone. That's what it's all about, connecting with you and building a relationship. This show is also brought to you by Arch DevOps. They're the ones that are helping make all the logistics of this podcast happen. We are so thankful for them. If you want to get your podcast up and running and you want to automate as many things as possible, go to archdevops.com. That's ARCHDEVOPS.com and reach out to them. They can be super, super helpful. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your day and be blessed.